It's also fitting that we're at the Academy of Sciences. There was a bust of Charles Darwin out there, and we all know that he's famous for his works on evolution, and the business of equity trading easily has seen some serious evolution in the last few years, last decade, last 15 years. So I was chatting with Nanette Buziak earlier, and I asked her the question, is trading an art or a science? And the response came back, well, it's both. And she went into detail on that, and that'll be on our website. So you can go there and check that out. But it was really interesting what she had to say. So the question is, we're all here, what's important about tonight? It's really about role models. People that are being held up for others to look at. Our winners basically are raising the bar so others can shoot for higher standards. That's one thing that the equity industry has always stood for, making it better for investors. And many of you have been involved on a number of committees over the years, involved with the SEC, various trade associations, and the changes that an industry has willfully accepted and cut their profit margins, I think, it's just really amazing. I can't imagine another industry that would do that, but the equities business has done that, and everybody in this room has played some role in that at some point or another. So it's really an impressive list of people we have here. The attendees have been active in many of these industry events. Speaking of role models and archetypes, in my edit letter for the issue that celebrates the women in this room, I recount a story from a book long out of print, and it has a chapter in it about a woman who worked in an order room at a regional brokerage shop in 1970. And she worked basically in the bullpen and had to deal with the retail brokers and the OTC traders. Now, those of you who have been around long enough and know something about the OTC market, if this woman were alive today, she would be in this room. There is no question about it. Some of the things she had to deal with. What marked her skills and abilities were her abilities to, she was a tireless negotiator, fearless negotiator. And she probably went on to easily could have become a trader. As the OTC market later, it wasn't even the NASDAQ market then in 1970, 71. So shortly thereafter it was, of course. So maybe she went to work at a place like Mayer and Schweitzer, as my edit letter points out, and maybe she didn't. Maybe she got out of the business. But given her MO in the book, she would be a great trader by any standards. And I was thinking, years ago, from 96 to 2001, I was in the Trader Forum running that as the director there, and I would say about maybe a third to a half of the organization were women. And it crossed my mind too, which is not in the letter, but maybe she was in that room too, talking about what was happening on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, or what happened in a situation with an upstairs broker, or a NASDAQ market maker, who knows. It's really amazing when I look back and my personal understanding of trading and how many women influenced me as far as bringing me into the fold and taking me under their wing, like many of you have said tonight, and explained how the market worked. They were vocal, they were passionate, they were engaged as much as anybody in that room. And the great thing was they could recount every tick on every trade. It was amazing how well they could remember a trade from 3 months earlier. So it was really quite a learning experience for me, and and that leads into today, because we've got some fantastic people in this audience, and they're all to be commended for a job well done, and they'll continue to go out and do the same tomorrow and the day after. And So I want to thank you all for coming and participating in this great event. And you know, I'm almost at a loss for words. The impact that women, although there aren't a lot of them in trading, the impact that they've had. And there's a quote here in the issue, a pull quote on page 30 that says, "While a small number of women have survived the tumult of Wall Street, the great ones have thrived." So, and that certainly holds true for the women that we're recognizing today. My job up here right now is to introduce Jose Marques, who will accept a Diversity Achievement Award for Deutsche Bank. Jose is the global head of electronic trading, and he's a managing director there. And he's going to say a few words about tonight, and I'd like to introduce Jose Marques. Jose?
So it's with great pleasure that I accept this award on behalf of Deutsche Bank. And I was asked to say a few words, and kind of as collecting my thoughts earlier in the day, I was thinking, you know, I could go through the whole list of corporate activities that we sponsor to really support women and diversity in general. You know, and these include, you know, some of the things that everyone here is well aware of. The Women on Wall Street program, which highlights highly successful women and really puts them up as role models to a broad population. The many mentoring and career development things that we do at Deutsche, and also the programs that we have around work-life balance and helping to facilitate that. But rather than go into all those kinds of things, you know, I think I'd rather focus a little bit on why Deutsche Bank does these things and why it's important to Deutsche Bank. And to kind of give that a little bit of background, you know, when I look at tonight's honorees, some of which I've known for many years and some of which I'm meeting for the first time this evening, you know, the thing that really stands out, and I think as we go through the program and they're introduced one at a time, is, you know, truly the level of talent, incredible talent that these women possess and bring to work, and the enthusiasm every single day. And, you know, when I think of Deutsche Bank and the challenges we face as a rather large global investment bank, our biggest challenge is, yes, we have regulatory hurdles we've got to deal with. We have financial crises to deal with, all kinds of stuff that has to happen. But really our biggest challenge is hiring, retaining, and developing talent. And, you know, nothing, you know, you stand in the lobby at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, this really hits home, because you can stand there, you can watch the key assets of the bank take the elevator down and go home to their families every single night. And people really are what's at the core of these big franchises. So, you know, when we think about diversity and what's important, you know, I could tell you about all of the corporate citizenship reasons we might want to invest in these programs, but at the end of the day, it just makes good business sense for us to support and develop and really aggressively go after what is really half of the world's talent pool. And that's really why Deutsche Bank does these things, and it really is quite important and key to everything we do. So, you know, I promise to keep my comments short. So with that, I'd just like to thank Traders Magazine. This is the first year they're doing this. I strongly encourage them to, you know, continue to develop this program, and hope to see many, many, you know, highly talented honorees in the future. So with that, I will step out. Thank you.